everyone, and welcome back to another exciting episode of the Indie Credible Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Xander Scully, and joined with me is Mr. Jeff. What's up, Jeff?
Huzzah! I'm here. And when we record at night, I'm drinking tequila, so it'll be a fun episode. Fun-filled episode of Scrambles today.
I was about to say that's a very large mug right there. This is my coffee mug. It's like almost the same size, but just a little taller.
Wild Bills. It's like when you go to some conventions, there's Pickles Pete and Wild Bills where you can fill up the mug all for days. You get it free refills for the weekend. So these things they'll keep drink very cold. So
It looks
nice. It's not full of tequila, but there is some tequila and a little bit of hipster jalapeno tequila.
nice. It was funny before we started. You're like, "Yeah, I just poured a drink." I'm like, "Me too." I'm like, Pepsi. It's like poured some Pepsi. Actually, I had had some coffee earlier.
I don't do any drinking during the week, but like this is now the weekend.
yeah.
So, and of course, I do have a flight coming up, which is going to be fun. Going out to Lakeland, Orlando, Florida area, and got to move 14,000 pounds of Hagen's Alley books, moving out of a warehouse, so that way we can handle all the shipping. Buddy Scott's helping out, which is awesome. And then I'm gonna visit my brother out in Houston, and then we'll be back, and it'll be about a week. So, I mean, we should be no difference for the Indie Credible.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yes, spring break fun though. Be a good time. We're going to Busch Gardens in Tampa. So that'll be fun.
Nice.
Hit up all the roller coasters. Yeah.
Well, you know what else is a roller coaster?
What else is a roller coaster, Xander?
This episode's a roller coaster. It's going off the rails because I had to show you one game that I got. You're gonna be proud of me because I've been very productive this week. I got a game this week.
You got a game to show off, an indie game.
Yeah, it's not an indie game. I had to show it off. Yeah, I got the Pirate Yakuza. This game. So I started playing that a little bit, but it's good stuff. But another game that I was playing that is
You got one.
What's that?
I got
that's
one.
right.
Here, that's
right. You got a game,
and it's like Pirate Yakuza, but not at all. So it's interesting. This game is called Habitat Carnival Shooting. And they sent it from Japan in a plastic case.
Oh wow.
And it smells like Japan. Japan does have a smell. A Japanese flea market. Interestingly. Yeah, this was actually cracked, but I just I took a lighter right here and it just went on it and it reheated the plastic. So what's crazy about this is this game has a little pirate guy on the front. Really little character.
Oh, that's cool.
But it is not a caravan shooter. It is an action RPG like Zelda.
Oh wow.
Yeah. One of the coolest things though is this came from the developer Habitsoft. So it might be Habit with an exclamation and not Habiti. Like it actually might just be an exclamation point there. But check out this thank you letter. All in Japanese. Says thank you, please enjoy playing my game. And I used the Google Translate on it. They also had a cool keychain that it came with, which has a little bubble wrap, but it's a keychain. And then threw in some like classic, different, and it has like pinball. So there's a game on here called Pinball Quest, something Dan. These are all City Connection Company games, and so these are like.
Is that Pinball Quest like the NES game Pinball Quest?
Yeah.
Oh man, that's
this
game.
This is legit old school Flyers. Oh. And then there's the Sewery RPG, like another little RPG game. And then there is also, which is why this came in this big case, they actually had a magazine called Game Legacy that it came with, all in Japanese with tons of like artwork and stuff in it. And the official Habit, it's Habit for sure, not Hibiti. It's a strategy guide.
Cool.
It's the size of a magazine. It is a strategy guide for the game. And it does look like because it says caravan shooter, right? I think that there is absolutely action shoot 'em up sections in this game as well. Like you can tell that there are some because a caravan shooter is TurboGrafx 16 style, Rucka style on the Famicom for Nintendo Famicom people.
Mhm.
So because nothing on here shows that there's a shoot 'em up, but if you look real close, kind of looks like there's like little shoot 'em up stuff on the Zelda style screen. So it might be like one of those where you're walking as the character as a shoot 'em up.
Mm.
There's a
Huh.
few games on the NES like that, but yeah, this is a really cool little like Japanese case. The actual like text here is in Japanese too on the case. So they must have just bought it at like a Michael's in Japan or something, But it
That's
fits all the pieces perfectly, and it's a big box into NES. This is the NES version too. It's not a Famicom. Like I
mm,
made sure I got the NES release of it. Super cool though. It says 11/20/24, so it must have been released in November. But 100%, that's NES indie. That's indie
yeah.
games for the Nintendo aftermarket homebrew, but released in Japan, which to me, that's like a different level of Wild Wild West. Because when I wrote the book on homebrew back in the day, there weren't many NES games in Japan. Since then, there's been a lot of little Famicom releases, but like this is the one that was like, I saw it up on Blue Sky. I thought it was fucking dope. But what was the game that you were playing, Xander?
This game, this game was sent to us actually.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to give a big thank you to the folks that sent this game to me. They reached out to us and they're like, "Hey, you want to try this game out? It's called Poltergeist Prodigy." Now, this is developed by Craig Giddens, published by Peacock Pie Productions, and it's at the time of this recording, it just came out. And it's on sale. Normally it's a $9.99 game, $10 game. It's on sale right now for like $6 and some change, like $6.75.
Oh, cool.
But it's a simulation game with a very interesting story. It starts off with like a car wreck, and you realize you're dead, and it's all first person view, and this like spiritly like white light orb is like, I'm a ghost too, and I'm going to show you the things you need to do now because you're a ghost. And essentially you feed off fear, and that's how you kind of stay alive as a ghost. You feed off fear.
It's
And
like real life for us.
yeah. And it's like you have to do certain things like manipulate items. At one point I was like turning sinks. I was like turning on the sinks and making it like spew out blood and like freaking people out and like getting their fear. Once you get your fear in enough like because each level, each part of the story kind of like the game kind of made me think of Mr. Mosquito in the sense that it's all like chapter wise, like you have a stage, you get through it and then you get to the next spot.
Like a life simulator type deal.
Yeah, yeah, and once you get enough fear, then you can bind yourself to an item that progresses to the next level. Like it starts off where you're in the mausoleum, and you can't get out of the mausoleum. You end up scaring like the cat. There's like a cat in the mausoleum that you scare, and then you scared like the gravekeeper. And when you scare him, you have enough fear that you can bind yourself to his broom, and he'd take the broom home to his house, and then boom, you start scaring his family. And one of the things that they do push on this is the fact that it is a short game. So that's good to know. It says enjoy a short, compelling story, interact with everything as a ghost. You can move or otherwise manipulate everything. Move objects, summon scary abstracts of manipulated appliances and possessed living. Fully voice acted comedic guiding mentor teaches you how to haunt, and it's cute and low poly visuals. So yeah, the visuals looks like low polygon, early PlayStation sort of look to it. But
Again,
I
kind of like us, cute and low poly.
it was
Low
good though.
polygon.
I'm really digging it. If you enjoy those kind of games like a Untitled Goose Game, or
Yeah.
those kind of cause and effect sort of simulation games, it's definitely one to check out. I dig it. Dig it.
Yeah, I think it is fun to play some of those little casual fun type games. And like typically when we get the games, I usually because they're like sending it over to me or send it over to you, and I always go, "Hey Xander, do you have time?" Because during the week I'm like at work, and my work is a bit crazy. Like I had tests this week and stuff. Now that I'm on spring break, we won't get it. It'll be ironic and
Yeah.
but it is what it is. But I did play a few indies this week too, so it'll be fun.
Yeah, that's pretty much my indie playing this week. I haven't
Nice.
played much, but I wanted to make sure I played that for sure. And of course, play a little bit of Pirate Yakuza, play a little bit of that. But what have you been playing? You
So I hit randomizer up on the Steam Deck a few times, and I got some fun games to play. The first one was this game called Red Blue Cell. And Red Blue Cell was an interesting one because you pop it up and it's a shoot 'em up, horizontally scrolling shoot 'em up. But the interesting part is you have multiple different modes. You have easy, normal, and like arcade. And easy and normal, it plays in the Red Blue Cell style, where you hit a button like Ikaruga, you change your ship from red to blue, and you can absorb the bullets from that color of enemy. And it's interesting because it's NES style graphics. So the graphics are very minimalist looking. I don't think it would actually run on an NES, like classic NES inspired games. But it was super fun to play. I probably got through the first couple of bosses before getting hit, or before losing my lives, because it's super fun to switch between. The only reason why I started to die was because I didn't realize that you can't absorb the same color ships. So
Oh,
it's more like NES 2 because a lot of the ships are coming at you and it's not like bullet hell. So there's a bunch of bullets that fly, but you just hit the red and you absorb the bullets. But a lot of ships are coming at you. It's kind of like Recco or a caravan shooter. But when they're all coming at you, I was kind of just haphazardly running into them because I was red or I was blue when they were coming at me, and I didn't notice that my energy was going down. And I'm like, oh. So then I eventually got game over on, I think it was on the third level. But the bosses are like screen filling giant behemoths shooting tons of different colored uh, bullets at you. And what's cool is if you shift at the right times, you don't even take damage as they're shooting at you. So you can kind of like dodge some in the classic shoot 'em up bullet hell style and then hit the button just to avoid damage. And I'm pretty good at playing some of the bullet hells, and the controls in the game were perfect on the Steam Deck. Like being able to weave in and out and carve through some of the bullets was good. Because sometimes if the controls aren't right, it's not fun to play. They were spot on. Like this is an A+ game. It's budget.
you took the words right out of my mouth. You took it right. I was about to say it is cheap. It's a cheap game.
It's cheap. If you look up the game while I'm talking, you can lay the wallpaper on any details I might miss too, because I'm not going to look up the game as I'm talking about, because I just usually take some notes here. And basically though, I thought it was super dope with the NES style graphics. Not a whole lot of power-ups were necessary, but as you start to collect certain types of icons, you'll get a couple options to increase your like wideness of your bullet spectrum, which is awesome. So like initially you're shooting a ton of bullets up at like 3 or 4 like rays go up at all times, and it's auto fire like when you just hold it. But then when you get the options, it adds more to it, which is like it just makes you feel like a badass when you play it, which I love with shoot 'em ups. And it really, at this time in my life where I'm an old ass man with thumbs that don't work as great as they used to, I gotta have a certain type of shooter to really get me in. And this one right here is on the list.
Well, I was going to say too, for the listeners or watchers of the show, if this is something, because it is a budget game, it's a cheap game, but there's also a demo as well. So if you want to test it out, I'm looking at it right now, and the graphic style kind of makes you think of Blazing Lasers. That's what it kind of made me think of a little bit.
Okay.
I was like,
That's
oh,
a
that's
great game.
that's like awesome.
Part of the Soldier Blade series, Star
Yep.
Soldier series, Blazing Lasers. Gunhead is what it's called too.
This is going straight into the wish list.
Oh.
I might buy it after the show actually.
It's so good. Like that is one of my hidden gems that I've played. And the thing is that this wouldn't even go in the indie gaming gems of the month either. So I got to make sure I I have this in the list because I already have my top 100 for the book. I gotta be like, is this in the list? Otherwise, it goes in the damn next book, and I'm already creating the next 100 freaking games. By damn. So the next game that I played is a Metroidvania. And I ended up getting stuck. So I'm not sure if it was a glitch or it was me or what. But it's called The Escape from Tethys. And it was really, really cool because you're like a robot style. Really felt like you're jumping right into a Metroid style game. Again, more NES style, 8-bitty style graphics, minimalist, but lots and lots of colors. So definitely would not run on an NES.
Yeah.
But it has that retro feel, which I really dig, of course. Again, this game was released in 2018, so it's not like it's new to us, not new to everyone else. Because I mean, that's 7 years at this point. But yeah, like so you're going through, and it's just there's no tutorial, but there's certain obstacles that you naturally have to learn to get to the next spot, which I thought was cool. But I got to like this boss fight, and it's just like a little guy, and he's shooting, like he's jumping overhead, shooting, and shoots out a couple missiles and everything. And I'm not sure if this is a boss that's supposed to kill me, but I didn't die. And then the boss just like went to the side and sat there, and I couldn't hit him. I couldn't talk to him. I couldn't scroll the screen to the left to leave. Like, so it just like stopped. And it was odd when I was playing versus the boss because, I like the screen could still go left, but the boss would like disappear, but I couldn't go to that side. So I'm thinking I found a glitch or something, and I'll have to go back, and I'd have to start the game over. So I just didn't. But this game seems super deep. Like there's a lot to it as well, like a ton to do in this game. And another one of these budget games too.
I was right. It's another $5 game.
Hell yeah. And so like to me the game was awesome until I got stuck. But I got stuck really early on. So before I would highly recommend it, I would absolutely want to check out to make sure that it's not like a glitch in the actual game. Because it's like a 77% positivity, so maybe others have found the glitch.
It's interesting, especially early on. That's kind of a buzzkill. It looks very familiar to me. Like I watched it and I was just like, man, this looks like something I played before, but I just couldn't place my finger on it. But just something about it was very familiar. It looked fun though.
Yeah. There was a few games that I've played recently that are similar to the style where you have the robot and everything. But yeah, I mean, probably Metroid, Super Metroid, Xander.
That game.
Dude, this third game though that I played, so once that glitched, I was like, all right, randomize one more time. And I got this other game. It's a RPG action roguelike. It's called Lunavania. And you think Lunavania, oh, it's gonna be a Metroidvania. No, it's an action RPG roguelike, but it also has like fishing and farming and NPCs and like it is wild.
This interesting art style.
Huge anime aesthetics. But the interesting thing was when I started up the game, everything was in Chinese. Like, and I only know it's Chinese because I went to Google Translate on it and it said, oh, normalized to Chinese. And so I had to figure out where in the menus going through different characters would get me to, I could go to English. And I was able to finally find it. Now, this game, the text doesn't mesh well with the Steam Deck. Like the text was like crunched and cut off because just the way that it was done. But I was able to get the screen after I put it in English to get bigger, and it helped mitigate the text problem. But the game itself was super cool because I was still like going through, I guess, the tutorial stages. But it's like you go through, you get multiple different types of weapons, like in a roguelike, like a Hades or something, but it's only side scrolling. And you'll like break through and go to the next section, and then you'll fight some enemies and learn how to use the bow, which has magical properties, or a giant like machine gun, or like random stuff. Like there's so many little random bonuses. And then I got like a mask or a crown or something, and that added permanent stat boosts for that run. And I kept going until I died. and then I died because it's a roguelike. And then I got to this giant town, and it's like, all right. I was like, do I want to learn this town right now, or do I come back to it later? So that's when I paused it, and because that was I did a gaming night where I played a few of these games, and so there's looks like there's a shit ton to do in this like hub world town.
Really does. It looks very in
Yeah.
depth. Yeah, I do want to note that because I'm on the page and it does say that it's not supported with the Steam Deck. Like it does have some compatibility issues, but they're working on it.
Well, and that's probably why I was running into. So it's
Mhm.
playable. It is absolutely playable. So I was playing the game on my deck, but I think it's because of the text. And so if they're working it, that means that maybe they'll fix all those little nuances, which
It's
is
still early. It's still early access too. So
nice.
yep,
Yeah,
it
because
is.
whoever this developer is completely just a Chinese name.
Yeah, it looks like it's yeah, the developer is Chinese. I can't read that, but the publisher is
Has a
Ikaruga.
lot of games. A lot of little indie games that we've never heard of.
Oh yeah.
Classics. I mean, when I say a lot, actually, Isles of Sky and Sea, which was that overhead Zelda style puzzle game that we covered like a month ago or longer.
Yeah.
That game is on their publisher list. So it's a digital publisher. But when I say they have a lot of games, like it's a lot of games, like 100 games.
Wow.
Like they are a legit digital publisher. They just pick up all the stuff that they perceive as cool, which I like. I like that when companies do that. That's pretty dope.
Yeah.
Man.
This game looks fun.
Yeah, and I need some of these like when I'm doing this, like maybe we already covered one of these on an episode and that's why we're doing it, or I've had it in my list forever. Because like when I hit random on the damn Steam Deck, you never know what's gonna pop up.
Yeah.
I love it. I mean, I literally have more games I could play in my lifetime just on deck. And then I got the analog pocket with all the retro stuff, and I got these brand new habit style games, and like I don't even have NES to play it on yet. So as soon as I get my NES back, I got infinite freaking games to play, and I got a turbo. Like it is gaming Shangri-La for us
Yeah.
nowadays.
It's overwhelming. It really is. There's so much to play.
It's crazy, crazy. I love it.
Which brings us to our next segue.
Oh,
Because as if we didn't have enough games to play as it is, we're going over the horizon and talking about some cool games that we saw or that you've seen that you were like, hey Xander, you need to check this game out.
I had them down, and it was actually a pretty crazy like drought this week, like compared to previous weeks, because like what I have here is all I found. Usually I only pick a few. Like this was all I found this week. And I even went so far as to see what like ChatGPT says for the best indie games for the week. And one of the games, the last one in the list, was one of them. Like there's really nothing out this week. There was a few others that it listed, and they were games that I saw, and I'm like, it doesn't meet my because remember, listeners, like I am handpicking, and we're being like what stuff that we feel like we're gonna dig, we're gonna like.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
all of them are gonna be bangers, but like it has to at least hit, some of the aesthetics when we bring it to the table for the incredible. Like it has to be cool. And Beat Slayer is definitely one of them. Like this game looks so freaking cool. A roguelike hack and slay game.
Yeah, and it's got like that like Guitar Hero sort of
Rhythm style.
Yeah.
So like a roguelike rhythm style game, but like has that I mean the graphics kind of remind me of a Hades.
Mhm.
Like 100% inspired by Hades, like just from my perspective, because of the little character bios that pop up, and then you got the different abilities, just like in a roguelike that pop up, which is the same as when we were talking about Lunavania, it has the same type of little pop up where you get to choose the different options. This one has a combo system and upgrades and craziness, and you know, again has a demo.
Yeah,
This
it
is
does.
not a budget game though. It's $20.
Yeah. But it's got a 75 on Metacritic, so that means decent.
That's awesome.
These are pretty
And
good.
and the developer is Bite Rockers Games, and they do have other games that they have worked on. Insurmountable, and Net Attack, and Stall Knocks, and Let Them Trade. They have a lot of games.
Yeah, the
Be Fence. There is one game that I recognize out here. There's also Vrog, Vrog, like a frog. But the one that I recognize has a physical on Nintendo Switch. It's called Jelly Break Deluxe, and it's a couch co-op platformer. That one has a physical over, not in the US, but I think it's a European exclusive physical. That's just because I have a crazy physical Switch brain for indie stuff. Like I'm nuts. I don't know why I know this shit, but I do. Probably because I write books on it. But like this Beat Slayer game, what do you think about it, Xander?
I think it's cool. I mean, it's got like that Slayer aesthetic, not Slayer, Hades aesthetic. So, but it may have the Slayer aesthetic too because it does have that Guitar Hero kind of battle system. I thought that was really really interesting. It is a higher game, so I might wait for a sale, but I'll check it out for sure.
Yeah, a little pricey, a little pricey. But yeah, I think this one is a recommend for sure. And it's still, to me, it doesn't it still hits that indie piece, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh, definitely, definitely. This game right here, I really like the art style of this one. Uh, it's a real-time grid-based action roguelike. And it's this like Guidus Zero? Is that the name? Guidus?
Yeah, I'd say so. Like I don't know, but it has the grid-based jumping around like Rift of the Necrodancer. Like, well, probably the first one, the first Necrodancer game, not the Rift. The Rift one is like Guitar Hero, but this one, like, you're literally bouncing around in grids, but it doesn't seem to be beat based. I think you just beat the crap out of enemies as like an action RPG.
Kind of made me think of Ease a little bit.
A little bit. I mean, I think you're
Yeah.
attacking. I think you're
Yeah.
attacking, but like the graphics though are beautiful. Like you have lots of different like vibrant visuals. Looks like you grinded some little items to be able to purchase elements and different things. And with the roguelike side, you got different power up options you can choose to power up your character, which assumes that the difficulty then is high. And that way you gotta like, grind through it. Freaking crazy.
And it looks like one of the kind of taglines for the gameplay is learning the character movements. Apparently their movements leave, weak spots, or you can inflict more damage hitting them at a certain angle. So looking at like the gameplay, like they move around, like you're almost like zipping and zapping. Just to get zipping and zapping just to get the right hit, which can be pretty challenging. That's really cool.
That's a freaking wild time when you're zipping and zapping to get the right hits.
Indeed. And
This your weekend while you're zipping and zapping to get the right.
and this is like a middle of the road price game, where the one previous was 20 and we like that $5, hot spot, but $14.99, $15, not bad. Not bad.
Well, and like it's still in early access as well. Dude, this next one when I saw it, I just thought it was freaking ridiculous.
Oh,
it reminded me of the Sega Dreamcast for some reason. It's called Tennis Fighters. And yeah, I don't think there's any fighting. I think it's just tennis.
It's just some hardcore tennis. But you know what's funny is, I mean, I actually kind of like tennis a little bit, but I'm not a big sports person. But like sports games, like video games are just off the wall and kooky. Like I'm always enamored by them. I'll always check those out, like NBA Jam, Super Baseball Stars, stuff like that. And yeah, this made me think of the virtual tennis on the Dreamcast.
100%.
But it's like very like over the top, like just balls at a wall, literally. Just it's a racket, I'm telling you.
Well, I mean that's a hilarious, but there's like groundbreaking like life bar. So I don't know because there's still points. So I don't know if the life bar is like a power thing, but it's like there's like beat 'em up aspects, is what some of the reviews say. Like I just thought it was ridiculous to add to the podcast because it's like it totally reminds me of the Dreamcast. Like
Yeah,
100%.
it
Like
is.
and it's
Fun
it's
to
a cheap
add.
game. It's $8. It's a cheap game. Like
Yeah,
it looks ridiculous.
yeah, and it's fun to add those like little off the wall, games because we have a palette that we enjoy when it comes to games. We love our roguelikes, survivor likes, Metroidvanias, platformers. Like we love that stuff, but throwing one of these in there, like a tennis game, we're crying out loud. That's
100%. Like
so
ridiculous. Epic. I love it. Dude, and speaking of unique and crazy, this last one is like the craziest one that I saw because just last week we were talking about Rift of the Necrodancer, and now there's this game that was also released like just this week at the time of this recording, and it's called Everhood 2. It's unconventional action RPG where you battle enemies through musical encounters while being accompanied by a raven who promises to retrieve your voice if you slay the mighty Mind Dragon. Again, sounds like you on the weekend. Slay the mighty Mind Dragon.
indeed.
Psychedelic indie music. That's what this is, dude. It just looks so wild. It's like Guitar Hero meets a role-playing game where you fight crazy-ass bosses in the music battles.
I like
Dude,
this. I like this.
Oh shit! It hit music. You're not supposed to have sound, but yeah, it looks fucking crazy.
Yeah, and this game right here, I'm looking at the price right now. It looks like 17.99.
Full friends game. Oh yeah.
I've never heard of like Everwood though. Like this is Everwood 2.
Everhood.
Oh, I'm sorry, Everhood.
Hood.
I had to scramble that up a little bit. It
Of
looks like
course.
it looks like Everhood, like the first one. It looks like it was more the same,
Similar. Yeah.
simpler.
And these developers have worked on both. The first Everhood was released in 2021. So, and it's now $10, but it's a similar one. So if you want to try out, for a more affordable price, you could try out the first one.
Mhm.
I mean, and the graphics themselves, at least in the first one, kind of look like Undertale with a cute, like, artistic aspect to it. So that's not a bad thing. The newest one, though, has like psychedelic. It's like crazy psychedelic visuals. Like, so it's like super Undertale. Like, if Undertale's gonna melt your brain.
Yeah, Everhood 2 looks like one of those games that I would play when I have like all the RGB lights going on in the office and just want to just zone out. Like it looks like that kind of game. I dig it.
Dude, it's crazy. Yeah. It's just like apparently it's a Nintendo Switch and Windows.
Okay.
That's what it's released on from. And then yeah, the only other games that were talked about were all games that I kind of passed on because there's one that's a roguelike deck building game with medieval themes called Knights in Tight Spaces. Um, and then you have one that they listed. It's called Split Fiction, but it does not look like an indie game. It looks like it is a definitely like a triple A almost, and it's on all consoles
Mm.
and major consoles. There's sci-fi and fantasy elements. Split Fiction looks cool. It's like in my list to like my wish list, but
Mhm.
like I don't consider a game like Split Fiction indie, and that's why if you're using something like AI to look up lists and stuff, you got to be careful because some of the stuff is not accurate. You always have to validate, which is why I'm only bringing certain games. Like, so Everhood 2 was on that 100% was already on our list. And that is a validation that that's a true indie spirited game. And it's super dope. And I mean, again, another 4 freaking cool ass indie games to try out. That's every freaking week. And it's just never ending that we're going to find stuff. And, at the time too, we got the March games out now for the indie gaming gems with the Hellscape from that we covered here on the Indie Credible. Got tough. top of marks for me. And then, of course, the cutoff for the Indie Gaming Gems book hit at the end of that month, the month of February 2025. So, like, games that we covered in the Incredible podcast are in the book. And now I am starting to conceptualize the different categories. Because if you think about it, how do you categorize an Indie Gaming Gems book, Xander? Like, and so that's the look on your face right there is exactly. And for those that are just listening, Xander's just like, looking like he's taking a food face. But so what I ended up going with was basically different aspects of how the community reacts to the games at the time. So it gives the book a little bit of a relevancy piece, which I think is cool. So if games are like highly anticipated, that'll be a section. Retro inspired, that's a section. If they're like hidden gems that nobody heard of, that'll be a section. Like I have like a bunch of different categories, and each one will have like 15 games. But there was one section I added, and we hadn't talked about it on the podcast. What about the indie gaming gems or the indie gaming pioneers? So I didn't think about it. I'm like, you know what? I need to do like the top 10 games, the top 10 indie games that have inspired like a generation of games. And so obviously you got stuff like your Undertale, but like Minecraft was an indie game. It is now huge, but it started as an indie game. Balatro is one now. You're gonna see a million
Vampire Survivors.
Vampire Survivors, 100%. That's on the list.
Yeah.
So this first version, because if I end up if it does well, people freaking really like this book, I'll likely do a follow up. But this first one's gonna have like the top 10 that I feel are essential indie games that set a standard in one way, shape, or form. And so it's gonna be fun. And now this book's gonna take me a long ass time to finish. Like, it's not like literally if I'm stopping in February 2025, by the time I finish the book, I probably will have like 3 or 4 volumes worth of games at the way.
Oh yeah.
Like, so we'll have so much content to get to the next. But 100 games I feel like is a perfect amount. It's gonna be like 4 pages per game though, because I'm doing because what I want to do is I want to showcase the art from the game on a double page spread, an impressive, like this is a giant screenshot with like about the game, and then the write up. And I'm doing a 2-page write up, not like a little paragraph like I do in my complete series, but a full like 2-page, like here's the game and why it should be part of your collection of indie, why it should be preserved.
Yeah. I think the indie pioneer, I think that's a great idea. It kind of goes into like what we were kind of talking about a couple episodes ago. We were comparing like certain games, like, man, it's very, Vampire Survivors like, or it's very Shovel Knight like, where that indie game is so influential. Yeah, it's so influential that it becomes a part of that DNA. So now I know what to call it. So in future episodes, I'm like, this is very, indie pioneerish,
And I don't even think I called the thing the Indie Pioneers. I think I called something else, but I think Indie Pioneers is a better name. And I mean, there's like games like this one. We got the little Hollow Knight, and some of it, like I may have covered it in the Metroidvania Chronicles, and I'll cover it again. And so that's where like people were like, how do you have the time to do the books? I'm like, I work a little bit on the books on the side. And as Xander knows, I have other projects I do. I have other shit I do. And both of us work full-time jobs, but I'm working on some art stuff, which I think is a good segue to the Patreon. But like I'm working on some art stuff with and the Patrons will definitely get first dibs on some of the cool ass shit I'm doing. But Xander's seeing my true ideas and like holy shit. Like so when I go to conventions, because I'm in training right now for the full year, but this summer I'll be done with my training. So like expect I'll be at Portland Retro Gaming Expo, and Xander's invited to come to all these. I'll just get his ass out there and help a place to stay. but like I got Portland. There'll be a few others that might be open. So like if you are in the area, we will make sure that you know well in advance that we are going up. Portland is in October, so September conventions. I know there's Retro World Expo and Retro Game Con. Retro World Expo's in Connecticut. Retro Game Con is in New York, Syracuse. I may be available for those. It just depends on house, and because I gotta move my whole family and house between that time. I've done it a million times. So I should be good by September because I'm moving in like June, July.
Yeah, you said moving, and it just
Every time, brother.
hate it.
I do it all the time.
Jeez.
Every couple of years, man.
Well,
Why my collection's not here? Let's do the Patreon.
indeed.
Indeed.
Indeed. And again, guys, the Patreon's free to join. This is the best way. I always suggest to folks is the best way to know what Jeff's up to, because Jeff's always doing something.
Well, you know what the best thing is? I don't have the list in front of me, and I bet I can name our executive producers from.
Oh,
You want to see if I can do it?
yeah, because I have it right here. Because I can't.
I don't have it. See, it's closed. So I would like to thank the executive producers for the Patreon, including Akriloth and Burner Turner.
Yeah.
David Isherwood from over the pond in your DK. Indeed. And then you got the disgruntled gamer, aka Lunchbox from the Texas Gaming? No, something Gaming Society. What is it?
Thunderdome.
Thunderdome Gaming Society. But he definitely does a lot of awesome YouTube stuff. And then of course the awesome Jesse Glenn, who I have to say congratulations to getting his first ever Sega Master System collection. He posted it. And you know where he posted it, Xander? In the Patreon, where you can go in there. If you are a Patreon, you have a whole place where you communicate. Actually, he just sent it to me, but he needs to post that shit in the Patreon. So this is where we need to remind him to post it in the Patreon. But yeah, he said he had never seen a Sega Master System before, but he got one with a bunch of games. It looks dope. I was like, congratulations. That's awesome.
Oh, yeah, I love the Sega Master System, and for me, it's a real treat to collect for, especially not growing up with one, because I didn't grow up with the Sega Master System. I didn't even know about the Master System until like years later. I was like a teenager by the time I found out. I always knew about the Genesis, but the Master System just wasn't as popular where I was. So
like I went from hand-me-down NES to first job getting a Super Nintendo. Like, and this, by the time I bought a Super Nintendo, it was the Mario World, Mario All-Stars combo. Way later, because I had to buy it. I had to save up for it. But like the Sega Genesis was always at my cousin Kyle's house. We played at his cabin. Stories in the Complete Genesis book, which should be shipping soon, by the way. I got notification that it's coming soon. But the Master System, Kyle had a boxed version that he had. Like, oh shit, there goes the thanks. I blame the tequila. But he had a boxed version like growing up. Like he always had one, and so we played a few of them, but like we never really got into it. I think he just like put it on display in his closet in the bedroom. But the weird thing was, when I got back after deploying in the Army and I got all my extra stuff back, I got a Master System and the Master System converter on the top of the Genesis. And I found a bunch of Master System games, and I was down in like Florida, southern Florida near Miami. And I got this game, and it ended up being, I found out later, I don't know if it wasn't Spellcaster, it was a different game. It was like almost like Castlevania on the Master System.
Was it
Master of Darkness?
Master of Darkness, yeah.
And that was a Game Gear game. Never was released on the Master System except in a different region. So I got a copy of it in physical, and apparently it's rare as shit. And I'm like, and I just saw, I was like, oh, Castlevania, cool. Let me buy that. And then I later on through research, I'm like, oh, this game doesn't even exist, like for the Master System, US Master System. And so like I have some random ass Master System games. I only have a couple though, because like I wasn't a huge Master System collector. Like I was never, unless people really, really want it and bug me about it, I'm probably not going to do a Master System book until I do everything else, because like the reason I'm doing Turbo is because Saru Mario, guy who made FX Unit Yuki, you know, that
Great
team
game.
has
Great
been
game.
bugging me for years to do a Turbo book. So Turbo's next. People are like, why don't you want to do N64 or PlayStation? I'm like, dude, Turbo, that's what people want.
Turbo.
You know what else I'm being bugged about?
What's that?
The Game Boy.
That's right. Yeah, it's
And
a lot of
Game Boy's a beast. And Game Boy and Game Boy Color are two separate consoles. They're huge.
Yeah.
They're both gigantic. So that would be 2 books. But like, there's a huge aftermarket for both of those consoles. Like, so that might be what I move to instead of moving to N64 and PlayStation. Like, I might just stick around in the pixelated heaven that I love.
I was gonna say Master System would probably be challenging anyway because it had a huge aftermarket in South America. Like it was crazy.
Brazil, yeah, the Brazilian. I mean, they had a Chosen Battle Maniacs in Brazil exclusive. But you got to think about it though. So now you think about in realistic perspectives, right? So I did the math on my Switch Collector series, and I would be in my 80s when I finished it. It took me 7 years to finish the Genesis book. 7 years. That means I'll be in my 50s when I finish the Turbo book if I take that long. So I probably shouldn't take that long. I'm trying. I actually already finished like a whole section of the Turbo book, but I'm also working on Indie Gaming Gems. I'm also working on the Switch Year 3, which I've been working on for 2 years now, and I made it a bridge so I could do it faster. Now it's taking me forever.
Yeah, Switch is nuts.
But it's like those are 3 books I'm doing, and I'm always doing a million things, but it's like it's fun to work on them. I just like notch them out little by little, always doing a little bit. The Switch book should be up on Kickstarter this year because it's about done. That would be fun. And then I can concentrate on the Indie Gaming Gens and the Turbo books and have fun.
Wow, there's 60,000 games being released that we're covering on the podcast.
Dude, a year. Like, it's like, I mean, if my job was to cover indie games in print, I wouldn't get it done.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm able to do 100 games if I do it right. That's like a giant, huge book, 400, 500 page book on 100 best indies you need to play. Dude, it's just, that's insane. And like, that's why I moved to the monthly format of Indie Gaming Gems, because like every week I was doing, and it was just never like, there's so many that I was doing. I'm like, let me just really get the best of the best.
Yeah, and
Like,
at the end of the day, too, you want to actually be able to sit down and enjoy the stuff, you know, like actually because that's the thing, like you're writing about it, but you also have to consume it in some way as well. I mean, you just can't, blindly start just talking about these games. I mean, you have to play them at some point. So, yeah, you gotta. It's one of those things like we don't have enough like hours in the day to seconds to do it, you know.
and the poor YouTube subscribers, they've been asking me to do more personal aspects. So I'm like, well, I can't do 40 games a month, but I can do 10 games a month, and I can cover 10 games and like go into depth with my personal experience. And I'm talking about on a YouTube, like, because you can't, it's not like podcasting where we can guys shoot the shit on it. Like, you gotta be focused, and I don't like scripting it. So, but it's still like, I gotta at least talk about the game a little bit. So that's almost scripted. And then like, so I'm reading that part, and then I'm like, all right, so, but here's what I actually feel about it. Here's what it feels like.
This is what I really think.
Well, and usually it's like, because the about the game, there's no personal opinions in it. So
Yeah.
then I start talking about what I feel like what type of games is inspired by, all that shit. It's been fun. But that's kind of how it's going to be with the Indie Gaming Gems book too. Is it's going to be like a little mix of personal and like what the actual games are about and all the different graphical music and all the stuff you want to read about.
Yeah, that's all the stuff that I'm interested in when I'm consuming gaming content. I like to know about the game, but I also like to know, why do you like the game? Like, what's cool about it? You know?
Yeah,
Because otherwise, I just go on Wikipedia and I could just, or the Steam page, and just look up the game. You know?
exactly. That's what I was trying to avoid. So I've been owning that in. That's why I like what we do here, because literally I don't even have it open half the time. I'm just talking off the skull.
Well, yeah, the podcast, at the end of the day, I always describe the podcast as if we were hanging out with a video game magazine, opening it up, like back in the day, and like pointing out screenshots and kind of just thinking about what the game's
Yeah.
going to be like. Because, we watch the trailer, we'll read a little bit about it, but a lot of our, over the horizon stuff is just kind of our first impressions. Yeah, it's first impressions.
And then even the games that we do play, like we're full on adults, so like we don't have infinite time anymore, which is, I mean, everybody out here that is listening to us, especially at this point after we've already covered the games, like you're in our world, because I've seen the analytics, like people that listen to us are people, so we appreciate you.
And I think this is going to wrap up another episode of the Indie Credible Podcast. Join us again next week as we talk about more games to add to your wish list. But that never ends, the infinite wish list. It's a good thing. It's a good thing to have.